In this episode of Pints and Pizza with Professors, it's bonus time. I put my co-host Megan Wagner in the Triple P hot seat. We get to the bottom of some not-so-serious things like what childish things she still does as an adult, and some pretty honest talk about what failures she's learned from the most in her life. Oh, and you'll want to hear what Megan's dream car is. Believe me, it's pretty awesome. So, grab a slice, fill up your pint with some coffee, and enjoy this Triple P bonus episode. Welcome to Pints and Pizza with Professors, a podcast dedicated to help you, the college student, crush it in the classroom and in your careers.
We're just two college professors with an obsession for learning and a great slice of pie, throwing out no BS truth bombs to help guide you through the unknown.
We also celebrate the ideas and talents of emerging professionals and embrace the learning culture of now.
We're all adults having adult conversations, so adult language might be used.
Hey, grab a slice of pie, grab a pint, and let's go shoot the ish. It is bonus time on Pints and Pizza with Professors. I'm Jason Mollica. In the Pints and Professors hot seat today is my co-host Megan Wagner. Megan, how are you today?
Hi, Jason. How's it going?
Doing well, doing well. Now, obviously, I've had my chance to be in the hot seat. You took it very, very nicely with me. I am going to return the favor. Obviously, I will not put you in front of the hot spotlights and ask where you were in the night of the 25th. What I am going to ask you, though, are 20 questions. There'll be 10 in depth and then 10 lightning round questions that you need to answer. You should not feel any pressure. But if you do, make sure you have that water next to you and you will be just fine.
Got it. I have been warned. I've officially been warned, right?
Okay. Yes. So let's hit the ground running because we want to hear what you have to say. We want people to learn a little bit more about you. So question number one, if you could choose one guest to interview on our podcast, who would it be and why?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying that I am almost 6 feet tall. So the list is probably as long as my left leg. So there's so many that I know we could, that I could choose. And it's very, very hard to narrow it down to just one. But if I had to choose one, I would say Michelle Obama.
Oh, nice.
Mrs. O. She's amazing. And, obviously I don't know if you've read her. I have not read her book yet, which shame on me. But I actually saw her when she was up here in Toronto a few months ago. I saw her speak at Scotiabank Arena, and her story is incredible. She had two loving parents, but she grew up on the south side of Chicago, and all of the challenges she went through. And I think she's fantastic. She's just amazing. So that's who I would choose.
That's a good choice. I mean, you can't go wrong with Michelle Obama. And, I think in many ways, she is someone that so many people aspire to be like. And in this day and age where we do look at people differently because they've attained a certain position, she has always seemed to take that in stride and see and find ways that she could make an impact, both not only when her husband was in the White House, but also now out of the White House. So yeah, I would not mind having her as a guest on the podcast.
Yeah. And just, what she does for military families and what she's done to help with, childhood obesity and fitness. I mean, her work just spreads not just in our country, but throughout the world. And her inspiration also spreads throughout the world. So she's amazing.
She is.
We should reach out to her and ask her.
Yeah,
why not?
Just say, they would promote your book again. I don't care.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty sure by now her book doesn't need any more promo because it's
you're probably right.
Pretty, yeah.
I think it's doing okay.
Right.
She's got a future.
Yeah.
Yeah. Question number 2: if you could visit any place in the world, where would it be and why?
Again, my list is as long as my left leg. But if I were to go somewhere right this second, I would say I would go to a town in Germany called Weinheim. Only
I wonder
because
why.
I know my maiden name is Weinheimer. So secretly, I'm hoping I'm some kind of long lost princess there and I get free beer. So,
Nice.
like, so that's always been a spot that is just, I'm very much into ancestry and genealogy. Obviously, a lot of ancestors came from southern Germany,
Right.
you know, in the 1800s. I mean, long, long, long time ago. So I've always been fascinated with kind of that aspect of, where we come from. And that and the fact that there's a town is, basically named after my maiden name or vice versa or whatever. I just think that that's really cool. I would love to go there.
And especially if you could say, I visited the town that has my name. It
Oh,
just,
yeah.
it just
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
cool.
It does. I totally get my picture taken with a sign and
Yeah, I rule this place,
Yeah. I like, oh yeah. I just want to show my license. Well, I don't have it on my license anymore, but I'd show something that has my name and
Oh,
get free beer. Get
if
free
you,
beer.
yeah,
Be a
exactly.
princess.
Hey, if you can get a free something free while you're there, that's even
Right.
better.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've already gone across the world, but let's rewind and say, if you could tell your 22-year-old self one thing, what would it be?
So many things. So many. Don't we just want to sit down with our 22-year-old selves just for an hour and be like, here is literally everything you need to know up to this point.
Right.
you
Oh
know,
yeah.
I would say, and I think a lot of women have this thinking, especially when you get to, because I just turned 38,
Mm-hmm.
which, well, that's like vinegar coming out of my mouth because I'm like,
Ah, it's
oh
not
my God.
so bad.
I know, but I feel like we, as much advice as we could give our 22-year-old selves, I would essentially tell Megan Weinheimer that you are enough and you are more than enough and you are special and amazing exactly as you are. And we get into and again, it stems of any gender, but I think specifically for women, we always, and it's the way we're judged online, on social media, I mean, we're essentially constantly judged for something.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I have spent the last maybe 15ish years trying to undo all of the negative stuff that has gone in my head early on.
Mm-hmm.
um and that's hard, and it's still hard to this day to think that you are enough, and
Right.
to think, and so I that's what I would say is I would tell 22-year-old Megan Weinheimer, you are enough and you are amazing and special and fantastic just the way you are.
You know what? I would try to add something to that, but you know what? That's so important to make sure that we impart onto people now just how how you need to understand that you're not going to know everything and you are special just how you are at this moment. Don't change for people, don't change for something unless it's totally negative, that you have to make a change with. I like the way you said that. You know what? I hope, I wish you could go back and tell 22-year-old you that right now.
Yeah, and there's always, I mean, we're always improving ourselves, right? So if there's maybe a behavior that we, let's say I have zero patience. That's my thing. Like, I literally have zero patience.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that obviously we have to work on over time. So, would I tell 22-year-old Megan to have more patience? I don't know, because that's just something you have to work on over time.
Right.
But I think when you're trying to, change a mindset rather than a behavior, the mindset is just so difficult to, wrap around this concept of, being enough and being, just you're fine how you are.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So This is a nice little transition then into that and saying, what failure have you learned from the most?
Hmm. Well, again, going back to mindset, I try and frame failure a little bit differently these days.
Mm-hmm.
And I try and frame it as more or less a learning experience rather than like something really negative. Because I think, you and I talked earlier in your bonus episode that failure it has this negative connotation attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the things I've tried to do over the years, and it's extremely difficult to do, to frame failure differently and look at it as a learning experience. So the learning experience I've learned from the most was definitely losing my job.
Mm-hmm.
And back in 2015, I was the director of communications for an organization, and I lost my job. And oh my God, I was terrified. I was like, oh man, there's no more money coming in. Like,
Right.
what am I
Mm-hmm.
going to do? And it was relieving in one from one perspective, but then the other one, I was like, oh shit, what am I going to do? How am I
Right.
going to feed my dog? How, it's like,
Right.
oh God. So, however, again, I love the Steve Jobs quote that you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward.
Mm-hmm.
And so looking back now, I'm like, that was the greatest thing that could have ever happened to me because I jumped into entrepreneurship. I wrote a book about job loss called Fighting Fired with Fire on Amazon, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
check it out.
Great. Nice
um,
plug.
yeah, well, I try. So, I went in, I started my own marketing business. I just did all these things that were never on my radar. This podcast is a prime example. Being a podcast host was never, ever, ever on my radar, ever. And it stemmed from many conversations that you and I have had over the years. And then we just decided, hey, we should make a podcast about this. And we're like, okay.
Yeah.
And we did it. And so I feel like that was a pivotal moment in my career that really stretched stretched my limitations. It forced me to kind of live in a very uncomfortable place for a while. I would wake up in the mornings. I remember that summer I woke up in the mornings and I just had this horrible anxiety. And I was like, oh God, what am I going to do today? Like, and how is it all going to work out? Am I going to find clients? I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Da, 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 and, my little brain wouldn't shut off. But I wish I could have just taken a deep breath and said, Meg, it's going to be okay. And the universe has a way of taking care of you. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like if there's something on your heart and you really go for it, the universe does have a way of taking care of you. So, so yeah, that would be the learning lesson that I, had to kind of work through the most.
Failure can be a great learning tool. It hurts a lot, but I think you've done a nice job in really rising above what would be considered for some, a failure in, oh, what am I going to do? I'm just going to go into a shell. And you picked yourself up and said, you know what? Nope, this isn't the end. It may have taken a little bit, but it's allowed you to see things differently. And I mean, obviously, hey, you've done a pretty great job since then. So,
Well, I try, and honestly, that experience also has helped me help other people.
mhm,
And that to me is the biggest reward of any of it. And not just for myself. I had actually 3 very close friends of mine who were smart and hardworking, talented. All 3 of them lost their jobs, not at the same time, but they, over the last like 4 years, they lost their jobs and came to me just freaking out. And because I experienced that, I was able to be the voice of reason and say,
yeah,
like, hey, it's going to be okay. You are smart, you are talented, and really helped them through a really scary and bad time. because they all took it very personally. And I mean, how can you?
Oh,
I mean, how can you not? You know?
right.
And so, but that experience helped me help other people, especially people who I love and I'm close with. So, there's always that silver lining whenever you can take a page from your story and put it in somebody else's survival guide.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it any better. So now let's move away from the failure and trying to go back and teach us something to something a little more light. Would you rather be able to talk to animals or speak all the foreign languages?
That's a great one because I live in Toronto and it's an extremely diverse city. So I always wonder what people are saying when I'm walking on the street and wonder if they're saying something about me, I guess. But no, animals all day, every day. I love, love, love animals. And I see dogs coming up our elevator all the time and I see them out and about. And we had a Bichon Poodle mix named Sammy for 12 years. And unfortunately, he passed away a little over a year ago. And I always wonder, like, tell me your story, Sammy. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? He was a rescue from Newark, New Jersey. And so, like, I've always wondered his story. And, like, I wish you could talk so you can just tell me all the things. So,
Tell me what you've experienced over your life.
tell me why you constantly eat worms on the patio over eating this expensive dog food I
Yeah.
bought you. Tell me what's so appealing about that, please.
You'd probably get something like a Bugs Bunny voice or, oh, well, I like it because I was doing, you know,
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because my husband and I, we totally have had a Sammy voice.
oh, yeah.
It's really, yeah, it's hilarious. So, yeah,
There's never
it's
anything
good.
wrong with talking to animals, especially your
Not at
dogs.
all. It's very therapeutic.
It is.
Yep.
What book has influenced you the most?
I've always loved to read ever since I was little. And unfortunately, I mean, I don't, I, I don't make it big enough of a priority now, but I do try.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say the book in recent years that has really, really helped me, especially as a creative professional, is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Oh, yeah.
I read that and I was just blown away with her wisdom and her perspective on leading a creative life. If you're not familiar with Elizabeth Gilbert, she wrote the book Eat, Pray, Love, which the Julia Roberts movie was based upon. And so she's had many best-selling books and she's known all over the world. She's just incredible. And so I find that Big Magic really helped me to be more bold and more courageous when I'm creating. So, for example, I can't say that 5 years ago I would have had the courage to do this podcast
Mm-hmm.
because we're constantly in fear of judgment by others. And Elizabeth, she has this amazing analogy in her book that says, imagine you are driving in a car with your fear. So you're driving the car and the fear is in the passenger seat. It's always going to be there. You're always going to have this fear riding along with you. But it's up to you to tell your fear to shut up and let me do the driving.
Yeah.
And I love that. And that's always stuck with me, to not be afraid, whether I create projects for clients or whether I create my own projects or make things that go out in the world. It's okay to have this fear, but it's also very extremely important. It's essential to not have that fear drive you. You're the driver.
That's a really great, that's a kind of a great quote line, a mantra to live by. You should be in your own driver's seat. You shouldn't have someone else dictating where you're going to go. I mean, granted,
Yeah.
it's different when you're on a trip, but I mean, when you're thinking about your life and thinking about career, sure, you're going to have people saying, "Oh, you have to do it this way," or "You have to do." If you are true to yourself and you listen to the person driving, which is you, you're going to go pretty far. And I like that sort of quote. I'm going to have to read that. I've been always fascinated to kind of check out her books, and I think that just kind of spurred me on as far as the next one I need to read.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. So I highly recommend it for sure.
Okay, so We've talked about books. We've talked about life. So, who was your favorite professor in college, in undergrad, and why?
Ooh, I went to Indiana State University, go Sycamores, and I had the best experience at ISU. I just absolutely loved my undergrad years. I made some amazing friends that, are still in my life to this day. And I absolutely loved my time at Indiana State. And specifically, I was a graduate of the Scott College of Business,
Mhm.
and so I was a double marketing and business administration major. And I want to say my favorite professor was I had many favorite professors, and they were all in the College of Business. And I must say, the one that really stands out to me was Dr. Joyce Young. She was a marketing professor at Indiana State. And I really, really loved her classes because I felt like I learned so much just from practical projects to the case studies she assigned us. I just felt like the material that we were assigned or that we had to read was extremely practical and easy to understand. And there was one project that sticks out to me in particular. It was for a marketing research class, and half the class were assigned were assigned chain restaurants, and the other half were assigned locally owned restaurants. And we were each assigned a restaurant, and we were to go to this restaurant and hand out customer satisfaction surveys. And in exchange, the person would get a free dessert or something to that nature to kind of help out with this class project.
Right.
So, and it was such a really cool experiment that we did, and it got us out, and it got us, we had to do the work, obviously. So I mean, I had a very tough assignment of sitting in an Irish pub for 2 hours and handing out surveys.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I know it was so hard,
Tough
but
life.
I know, right? Hey, all in the name of research.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. And so, like, it was just a really cool, fascinating project that we did, that it was interactive, got us out, and it really showed us, like, the process behind getting this data. And I'm still a big data nerd to this day, probably because it was ingrained in me very early on in her class.
Mhm.
So yeah, definitely Dr. Joyce Young. She was pretty cool.
Nice. Well, hopefully she'll hear this
I hope she
and
does too. She
you'll
probably
have to
doesn't
send it
remember
to
me,
her.
but that's okay. Yeah.
Ah, she'll remember you now.
I know, right? She'll probably look at my grades and be like, "Man, did you really do that
Ah.
good?" No. That's okay.
If a movie was being made out of your life and you could choose the actor to play you, who would it be and why?
Mm. Mm. Wow, this is a good one. Um, I have two choices.
Okay.
I know you only want one, but, like, I have two choices.
We can bend the
So
rules.
okay, cool. So I'd say, based on her last performance in A Star Is Born, Lady Gaga.
Ah, okay.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if you have seen that movie yet, but it is extremely sad,
Yes.
but it is so well done, and she is phenomenal. So I really, really think she would be a great choice.
Okay.
So Lady Gaga is my first choice. Second choice would be Taylor Schilling from Orange Is the New
Oh,
Black.
yeah. Okay.
I like her. I like her style. I like she's, bubbly and energetic, and then she can go like stone cold on you in a heartbeat. So like, I like the transition. So it was, yeah. So I really have admired her work on that series, since it started. So I'd say Gaga and Taylor Schilling for sure.
Two good ones. Just, they're and
Yeah,
both and kind of in some ways opposite ends of the spectrum.
yeah, for sure.
So if you could instantly become an expert in something, what would it be?
Hmm. You know what? I would say I would want to be an expert in travel.
Oh,
So, for example, if I knew how to get bonus upgrades on flights, like to first class,
Mm-hmm.
or getting like the upgrade. I would want to be a travel upgrade expert. That's what it would be. So I want to know the tips and tricks and tools you can use to have better travel. Because like I fly a lot. Like I've flown a lot this year, and some experiences are fine and some are just brutal.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, flying is just a pain anymore, but you have to do it to get somewhere, right?
Right. Yeah. We
So
can't
I
avoid it nowadays.
right. So I would say, because you see those influencers and YouTubers that get these amazing private suites on like different airlines overseas, like
Right.
that's what I want to do. Like I want to know how they got that. I want to get like the private suites on upgrades and like restaurants and yeah, that I would want to be a travel upgrade expert
A
for sure.
travel update influencer.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be cool.
Yeah, I could dig having that sort of expertise, I think.
Yeah,
Because
for
it used to
sure.
be fun to fly and
Oh
sometimes it
yeah.
still can be, but it's so much more of a hassle now between the amount of airlines we have. It seems like a lot, but it's not as much as there was around when we were kids. And so it's getting that much tougher to trying to find the best deal. So yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind coming to you for that. That's a good one. I like that.
Well, yeah, and then I could use that skill and like sell it.
Yeah.
Like I could that would be very lucrative, I bet.
Could be a
Maybe just
best-selling author. There you go.
I know. There you go. That's
Th-
perfect.
Not
Yeah.
bad. Okay. Last of the first 10 questions. What childish things do you still do as an adult?
I would say I still put too much maple syrup on my pancakes or waffles. I still do. I dump it all
That's
on. It's so
that's
good.
good. I mean, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you
Yeah.
got to you got to coat it with syrup.
Yeah. I'd say that, or so every now and then I get a hankering for cinnamon toast crunch. So
Oh my goodness.
I mean, who doesn't? It's so
Right. Oh
good.
yeah.
It's so good. It's so bad for you, but who cares? Like it's just
Right.
delicious. So yeah, I'd say too much syrup on my pancakes or waffles, and still eating kid cereal. So I mean, most of the time, 90% of the time, I eat like the boring adult, like Special K, Nourish. Ugh, it's
Well,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, having
It's
the
like
sugar cereal
boring.
stuff is fun.
You have to every now and then. Sometimes when I'm at the store and I see it, I'm like, "Yep, you're coming home with
Little,
me." Yeah,
You're living on
exactly.
the edge, kid.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
So,
so good.
we're about to hit the lightning round, but if you want to learn more about Megan, her career, where she is, what she's done, go to our website, PintsPizzaProfs.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Pints Pizza Profs. It's that easy. Go to the website. We've got more information. You can also listen to episode 1 and learn even more about the amazing Megan Wagner's career. So, now that we've had I guess you could call them fun long form questions, we are entering the lightning round. Too bad we don't have sound effects for it. We have a budget, didn't have a budget for that. So, you have 10 questions. These are going to be lightning fast. So I am lifting the hammer of Thor into the air, and we are going to start right away. So, question number 1. If you could kill off one social platform, which would it be?
LinkedIn.
Oh, wow.
It's
Okay.
the grandpappy of social platforms, and we don't quite know what to do with it.
Okay. All right. What's your preferred social platform?
I'm all about the gram, Insta.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hit me up, Megan
Hit,
M. Wagner.
hit you up on the gram. We'll do that. All right. What would your Secret Service code name be?
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Blue Eyed Floozy. After the Queen song. Yeah. I just love that line. It's so funny because I have blue eyes, so that's why. And it was just like I love that song "Fat Bottom Girls" by Queen, and
Yeah, it's a good one.
it's just like, and then the line "Blue Eyed Floozy," like yeah. So that'd be it.
Okay. All right. What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
It's a tie between dark chocolate and strawberry.
Okay. That's a good mix, though, too, if you think about it.
Oh yeah.
You have one chance at attending any of the staple sporting events. That would be the Kentucky Derby, NBA Finals, Stanley Cup, World Series, Super Bowl. Which one would it be?
Super Bowl, hands down. Bonus points if it's a Colts Super Bowl.
Yep. I
I'm
think,
huge Indianapolis Colts fan. So if I could go to a Colts Super Bowl, I'd be in total heaven.
yeah, if your
Even more
fave
so
team's
when
in
they
it.
win. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
you got to go. Absolutely. What's been your favorite age to live?
21.
Okay. Taylor
I say,
Swift. Oh,
I say
no,
that
that,
was I say that with such conviction. I'm like
yeah.
21.
21. Here we
Hands
go.
down.
Yep. And you can hear past Megan going, "You're
Yeah.
darn right it was."
my college friends would be like, "Yeah, it was."
Yep, that was good. Well, we
Love it.
shouldn't have put down for So, what's your dream car?
Ooh. So my dad is a big Corvette guy. So it's kind of ingrained in my brother and I that we also too love Corvettes.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say it was going to be a 1981 Corvette Stingray, color blue.
Oh
A
man,
blue 1981 Corvette Stingray. That's on my like manifestation, whatever it is. Like you put it out in the universe and like hopefully it'll come to you. So
oh
that's what
okay.
I really hope I own one someday because they are beautiful. So
That's. I mean, just thinking about it is, I can hear the engine revving.
I know.
And right now, if you check outside your window, Megan, you will see. No, I'm just
Oh, yes. Love it.
what superpower would you choose to have?
I would want to be invisible.
Okay.
Because you could do it for good. You could do it, you could do it if you want to be a brat and want to mess with people. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
I dig it. Guess what? Hey, that could go into my travel hack because then I could just like hop on a plane and nobody knows I'm there and I just travel all over the place.
That's true. But I don't think the TSA would be,
You would
too
just
happy after you get like it turns off or you sneeze and all of a sudden it's like, where did she come from?
I
You know,
know. Well, you would just breeze past TSA because like they wouldn't know you're there, right?
well, like if you get on the plane, I mean, like
Yeah.
that, then you got a little bit of the problem with the secret guys that are there, and anyway, I'm thinking too much about this. Sorry. We'll go to the next lightning question. What do you order on your pizza?
Ooh, I would say order banana peppers and green olives and
Mm,
fresh garlic.
okay. I
Yeah,
like peppers. I like banana peppers.
I
I
do
love
too.
banana. They're
So good.
very underrated, I think.
For sure.
You know,
Yep. I love my pizza simple. It's good.
nice.
hmm
Last of the 10 lightning round questions. What about pets?
Pets are amazing. Like I said, we had a little pup named Sammy, and we lost him about a year and a half ago. And he was like my kid. And
Yeah,
and we just had the best time with him. And he was so funny. And he literally was like a little person. And I feel like everybody needs a dog. I think the world is better with dogs for sure.
I would agree with that. We
They're
all
very
need dogs in
therapeutic.
our lives.
Yeah. Fun fact, Sammy was actually a therapy dog.
Oh, wow.
And so yeah, and I got him certified when we lived in Buffalo for a while and
Hmm.
I got and so the whole inspiration was my grandmother who was in a nursing home in Syracuse, New York, and I would bring Sammy to come visit her and she just loved him.
Yeah.
She loved him. So then when she went to live in the nursing home, my dad had called to see if they allow pets there and they're like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And so Sammy just walked in, like we had to sign in and he like we didn't he we just walked in with him. He was like and the residents there just loved him and they were just so happy and excited and so I would anytime I'd go visit my grandma I'd bring Sammy with me and she was just like in heaven. She just had this little visitor with her and so
Oh,
then
that's
we
nice.
yeah and then that inspired us to go to other like nursing home residents in the Buffalo area when we weren't visiting my grandma to go visit them and that was like the best thing ever to see these people's like faces light up because there's this little dog that's here and it was a great experience. It was very cool.
And you know what? The pets always find a way to enter our hearts when we either least expect it or when we most need it, you know?
Definitely.
So
Hmm.
that's nice. I like that.
Yeah,
Um,
it was fun.
well, you know what? 20 questions went by pretty fast. I think we
It
learned a lot
did.
about you, but I will say that there's, as we said in between, there's still a lot more. So if you go to the website, Pints Pizza Profs, PROF.com, you will find out much more about Megan Wagner, about myself, Jason Mollica, and about the podcast and the episode, all that good stuff. But remember, you're listening to this bonus episode, you need to go back and listen to more. So enjoy this bonus episode with Megan and then go back and listen to some of the others, because I think what you're going to see is you're going to see that why Megan has learned so much from the failure that she had, but also what she could tell her 22-year-old self back in the day that she's now brought into her 30s that has made her the person she is today. So, Megan, thank you.
Thank you, Jason. You took it easy on me.
I
I dig
try.
it. That's what friends do, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Well, thanks, Megan.
Thanks so much, Jason.
You got it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Pints and Pizza with Professors. If you like what you've heard today on the podcast, we'd be so grateful if you'd leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening on.
Also, connect with us on social: Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook. You know where to go. At Pints Pizza Props. You have a question? We'll answer it on the podcast. Use the hashtag Pints Pizza Props.
Once again, I'm Megan Wagner.
And I'm Jason Mollica. Cheers.